Hello there, Making Melody here. This is Making Melody Crafts. Welcome to my channel. So today we are going to make a Mother's Day card. I am going to go ahead and dust this card, and I'm also going to I use this in another video, the Dilutions ink. I really like this, and it is a permanent mixed media ink palette. It's archival ink, and this color is called, they have like different names. What is it called again? I think this one is called Dirty Martini, this green one. So if you have that, that's cool. If not, you can use absolutely anything you have. So this is a chip brush, and I'm just gonna start dusting the card. I actually have already done another video of this, but I just didn't really like how it came out, so I'm doing it again. And that's okay. It came out okay. I just wasn't that thrilled. Maybe I'll show you. I don't know. I think we're hard on ourselves, right? If you're a maker and, you know, you create things, we can be a little hard on ourselves, and that's probably not good. All right, so this is a really light dusting. I don't know if you can see the difference there, but here's a white card with no dusting, so here you can kind of see the difference. And hopefully I'll stay in frame, but no big promises there. You could also use a sponge dauber, anything you like, a makeup sponge, or whatever you have to get the same effect. You can do more of a stencil, you know, style of doing that. I just like this back and forth motion. And then when you come over the edge of the card, it'll create a natural frame to your card when you're doing that dusting back and forth. Okay, so that's pretty heavy there with the green, but that's all right. I think it's pretty cool. Now, one of the, and by the way, if these kind of dry out on you, or this ink pad's pretty juicy, but if you have an ink pad that's kind of dry and it dries out on you, just, you know, have a little bottle maybe nearby, a little mister. You can either mist it right on it, you know, spray and mist it right on it, but I wouldn't do it, you know, that close. I'd be further away. Or mist in the air and then kind of catch it, just kind of come up as you mist to catch that. Obviously, I wouldn't do it over your work surface because you probably don't want to get your card wet like that with water. All right, so this style of card I've done many different times for different occasions. And I absolutely love these. I call them the swirly doodads. That's not really the name. Let's see, it's Inkadinkadoo, and it's Dot Flourishes. That is the actual name, not swirly doodads like I like to call it. So, I've had this quite a while. This is actually from 2007. So obviously that's probably not going to be available in any store, and I got that at Hobby Lobby. That should work. Just an acrylic block. If you don't have an acrylic block for these acrylic stamps, you could also use plastic packaging. That'll work just fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a frame by creating like a border around this card. I want to get an oval effect here. That's kind of what I want to do, but I also want to stay away from the center because that's where I want my sentiment to be. So you don't have to have this set. If you want to do something similar to this, you could draw it on, actually. If you're into that, you can totally do that. I'm not that great at that, I'll be honest, but trying to get better at that. And let's see how we do here. Oh, that'll be better. The last time I did it, I think I just went down too far into the card, and then I lost a lot of my space that I wanted for stamping. So when you're doing this, also kind of just hold on to this for a second, give it a second to transfer. It doesn't even really need to be this long. I mean, this has probably already been, what, you know, 5 or 10 seconds? Even like, you know, 3 seconds or so is good. And you'll get a better impression that way if you just give that ink time to transfer from your stamp to your paper or whatever it is that you're stamping on. And by the way, this is Neenah cardstock. I love that. All of my bases are Neenah cardstock 110 pound. That is a pretty sturdy cardstock, and I prefer it. So there's a lot of these. Every time I've made this card, it is slightly different. So there's no two exactly alike. Now I'm going to test this because as I was doing this, and this is the only thing with using a divided stamp like this, is you can easily kind of you know, get into the other color. And if you're not going for that, you know, you might not want that other color. No, it looks like it would have been okay. All right, I don't think, I did get a little blue, but that's all right. Also a cool thing, when you buy a stamp set, whether it's obvious like this, all, you know, all in one, those colors are made to go together. They take some of the guesswork out for you by doing that. So yeah, that just gives you a better, you know, hopefully a better result in the end. Yeah, when I've done them, I tend to go right around. We're gonna do that differently. I'm gonna start in my corners and then I'll fill the rest of the space, because this is where I tend to get in trouble, if you will, with not having enough space for my sentiment or whatever it is that you want to put in the center. Just whatever you like. Okay, that should be fine. Yep. Great, I do like that. That turned out well. And notice as this dries, this one is a little darker than this one, so this is already dried, and it's just a little bit, that's a little bit darker, but it will dry a little lighter. One thing that I like to do with this stamp, with this whole set, and you could do this with any type of fern set or curly doodads, it's kind of nice to have it look like it's a continuous pattern on the card. I think it's nice because the eye kind of can continue to follow that, like this one. That's kind of what we're gonna do. Let's try the small one, and then, oh, gallon, quart, pint. What was I thinking? So I'm kind of forgetting about that. So try your biggest things first, and then work the other things in. So I'm going to use this big ink pad or stamp block, and see if I can get this on here without messing up and getting into the pink. So the larger the stamping block, the acrylic block that you're using, the more chance that you could, you know, get some ink on there. But then again, you also have a bigger surface to hold on to if you have any kind of, you know, issues where you have trouble holding on to something. The larger stamp blocks can be better for that. If you do get any, you know, on the stamping block, no worries. Just kind of give that a quick wipe before you stamp it, just in case you would get it, you know, just in case you would get it on, you know, something else and get a smudge on your card. So I'm checking this now to make sure that everything looks moist, because if it's not, if every area doesn't have like some wetness of that, you know, of that ink on there, it's not gonna, obviously it's not gonna come out well. Let's try more like that and see what we think right there. Okay. Yeah, when, you know, when you're making a card and, you know, say you're in a hurry, does that help you or not? Boy, that helps me. I work great under pressure. So if I was going to something and I needed a card for somebody really fast, wow, I could put together a card super quick. That was one of the larger ones. And this one is also quite wide. So if you're trying to fit a lot of sentiment in, that one might be challenging to use. So I might go back to this one again. And it's also a little bit easier to ink this one up because this block is narrow. And so using this stamp pad, I'm not so, you know, I'm not so likely to get ink on another area. So hopefully that'll be good. All right, so, oh, that's kind of neat there. Oh, let's try that. So I do tend to like this one because it, yeah, that looks better like that. It is a narrower stamp, so that goes pretty well. All right, that'll be good. One of these I made for my mom, a Mother's Day card like this, similar to this, and I just loved how it came out. And I forgot to take a photo of it before I sent it. So I try to do that with all of my cards. Take a photo. But, oh, that's neat. That came out all right. So I'm pretty happy with that. So now we just need to fill in a little space there. I'm going to put the smaller one here. So let's get this one on a block. Oh my goodness, there we go. And these acrylic stamps stick pretty well. If they don't, just kind of wet the back and then just let it dry just a little bit. Even the moisture from a baby wipe is enough. And let the back dry, and that doesn't take long. And then you'll be good to go, and it'll stick really well for you again, or it should. No guarantees there. Okay. Now I'm not gonna get exactly how I want this, but we're not gonna worry about it. Let's just get it down on there and call it good. Let's try this guy. And the nice thing about the acrylic stamps too is obviously you can see what you're doing when you're working with, you know, rubber stamps. Obviously, if they're on a wood block especially, it's really hard to see what you're doing. And see, this one does take up a lot of space. I think, you know what? Let's just stick with this one because it's working for me. And, oh yeah, and look how that design continues through there. Oh, I like that. That's really pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna get that all nice and inked up. And, oh my goodness, I did just get blue on there. I'm pretty sure. But let's go with it. I'll just put a little more green on there and call it good. Life is hard enough. We don't have to have cards stressing us out, right? Let me see. There we go. And yeah. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, so just hold that again. Give that ink time to transfer. And if it was winter right now and your heat's running a lot, you can go ahead and once you've inked up a stamp, just breathe on it a little bit, and a little bit of moisture in your, in your breath will help to activate that ink, just in case it dries out, just in the time if you're deciding, where to put a stamp. Since this ink pad already has the colors, and oh my gosh, pink and green, I love that together, or green and purple, oh that's great. I think are those tertiary colors? I think it is. I have a color wheel right in front of me, but I don't remember. I don't remember right now. Okay, yeah. So why not use that pink? It's a Mother's Day card, and it's great to honor our moms or the special ladies in our life that have made a difference in our life. So let me see. Let's use this one for this. That is going to be the sentiment in the middle, but the Happy Mother's Day I want up here. Now let's go ahead and ink that up. Enough chit chat about stamping. I suppose I should be stamping. Okay, so make sure I have this right, and since this is a little long, I put it on my block, corner to corner here instead of this way because it's kind of a long stamp. When these are new, any of the acrylic stamps, a lot of times, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. A lot of times the etching in there may be such that it just doesn't grab the ink very well, kind of like a glossy surface. If you've ever painted, you sometimes have to sand that. So you can take just a, typical cardboard emery board, and I use this one for crafts, and just kind of, rough it up. You don't have to rub very hard. Maybe, 5 or 10 times, just kind of go across there, and that's going to then more readily grab that ink for you. So you should get a better image. Okay, so I'm hoping I've got enough ink on here, and you really don't need to twist a stamp when you've got it on a stamp pad. Yeah, I did get into the blue there in my haste, so, and you can see that, or maybe you can. It's not a big deal. If you get a little bit of another color ink onto your stamp pad, it's usually not going to matter. If that bothers you, I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So let me move that over and get this ready here. And I'm gonna move that so I can get it straight. So this is handy having a grid pattern. If you didn't have one of these, you could just grab a piece of cardboard and a ruler, and a pen, marker, whatever you got, and you can make a grid pattern. It just makes it handy for positioning things. There we go. I do not have a MISTI. I have the other, it's like a stamp. May uses it, and May made it. She has great videos, and she's very talented and super fun to watch. But yeah, definitely check out some of her videos. But she has this little stamping thing. I can't reach it right now, or I'd show you. And yeah, and that'll also hold your stamp in place while you push it down. But to me, it's just another thing to grab right now, so I'm not going to bother. So you see how this one came out? I like this better than my first one because I wasn't pleased with that. But again, it is very faint. I'm going to try to show you. That's very faint. I really want that to be a little bit darker. So I do have some markers, and I will go over that like I actually did the first time, which is what I did here. I went over that with markers. But before I do that, I'm just going to keep going, and we're going to get the actual sentiment or other sentiment on there. So we've got Happy Mother's Day. I'm going to clean that right away so that doesn't get messed up. And now the sentiment, or the little thing that's going to go in the middle, is her children rise up and call her blessed. Proverbs 31:28. Oh, and if I didn't mention it, these are from Inspired Stamps. That's the regular spelling, Inspired. And I believe I got these off of Etsy. And this set is called Hymn Girls Mother's Day. So it's HYMN. So, and it's got this little lady here. I'm not using her on this card, but she's pretty adorable. And then in her dress, it's got like, you know, like out of a hymnal book. So yeah, that's pretty cute. All right, so onward. All right, so here where I got the other ink, really not a big deal. You could grab some scrap paper and just kind of try to lift it off a little bit that way, because some of the, you know, some of that ink will come off too. Obviously you're gonna get the pink. There we go, some of it's coming. Yep, that's coming off. And you'll see it on whatever it is that you're using. You'll see a little bit of that coming off. This was just a note to remind me what card I was doing. Don't judge. Well, you can, it's okay. All right, so that's pretty good. It's a little bit better than it was. And then what I could do too is carefully take a baby wipe and, whoa, and just kind of dab at it until you get that off of there. You know, when it's there we go. When it's a small amount, it's really not that big of a deal. You know, depending what color you got mixed with another, it's usually not gonna matter. Not gonna matter. All right, so let's go with this. Okay, this one is like the perfect size to use on here. So 2 by 3 inches is each one. So if your stamp is a little less than that, then it's going to be really easy to use this if you have this kind of divided ink pads. Okay, so let's hope. And I had the same issue with this here. I am going to give this a little twist just to, you know, try to get that to pick up more ink, but I probably should have roughed that up a little bit more with my emery board. So here we go. And I'm working upside down, so let's see, maybe it'll be better. Oh, nice. That fits nicely there. So I'm going to leave a little space between the Mother's Day. Trying to use the rule of thirds a little bit. It's kind of where it, you know, where it's the most pleasing to the eye with that. Okay. There we go. Okay, that actually came out better than the first time, even though it's still too faint for me. I still kind of want to make that a little bit darker with, you know, with a fine point marker, and that should be good. You could, in theory, and I really do mean in theory, I have not had good luck with this. Let me know if you feel differently. Because it's an acrylic block, one of the benefits is that you could re-ink that, position it, and re-stamp it. In theory, it's in the same spot, but I've rarely had that happen. That's where the MISTI does come in handy. That's Most Incredible Stamping Tool Invented is what it stands for. But yeah, I don't have one of those, so we're just gonna move on. That is okay, not a big deal. So underneath this, I really like this little flower that is part of this set. You get quite a selection with this, and I thought it was neat because for Mother's Day, I think I had like I had 2 Mother's Day stamps, and then one of them was small, and I had dropped it on the floor. No big deal. I'll get it later, right? Well, later, yeah, I didn't do that, and then when I vacuumed, I realized after I had, you know, dumped out my vacuum that I had vacuumed it up. Oh well, those things happen, right? Now look how nice that came out. How, like, kind of like I don't know, thick, would you say, that came out? So that image, the flower came out much better. There's just more surface area with that flower. So I think that's, you know, that's part of the reason there that that's coming out so nice and dark. That's how I want it to look, is like that. And I think that pink and green is so fun. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with that. So there you go. That is our Mother's Day card. Not a hard card at all. I think this is fun. I think this is definitely a beginner level card. I don't think that is too hard for anybody. And again, if you like to draw, you could draw on your swirly doodads or dot flourishes, as it's actually called. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like, share, and subscribe. I would appreciate it so much. And hope everyone is doing well, and be safe and be healthy, and I'll catch you later. Okay, I know I already said goodbye, but I'm back. So, you know, a couple options. This is like, it says Bible Dry Highlighter there. I am going to try to, what do you say, doctor this up maybe a little bit? So this highlighter is, that point, it just advances as you push here, just like a clicking pen. So that's how that advances. And then if you want it to go down, you just, whoops, yeah, there we go. Push that down. I've had this quite a long time. It's made in Japan. GTL is all I see on it, and it says it won't bleed through. Oh, GT Luscombe Company, Luscombe. So that's the kind of highlighter that is. So if I use this, I could very carefully grab my X-Acto knife, and using much caution, I keep it in a cork. I got this idea, I think, from Lindsay Wyrick, to keep the blade in an old cork from a wine bottle or whatever. You could buy these in a store if you don't drink any wine and you don't have corks handy. And then I'm just going to, let me be in frame here. I'm just going to kind of get this to more of a point. At least that is my plan. We'll see how that works. Because I want to see if that would work on this surface and I could get it, you know, how I want it. There we go. So I'm making tiny little, I'm pushing the blade away from me. And just going to make this a little bit smaller. It kind of looks like, you know, a dull pencil point maybe right now, which is about what I'm going for there. So that's kind of where that point is on that. And if I used this friction marker, which is an erasable marker, that's the point on that. So yeah, it's just not quite fine enough. Let's see what we get. Let's try something highly unusual. And before I do it on the actual card that I'm probably going to give this card to my mom for Mother's Day. But yeah, before I try it on there and mess it up, let's do it on another piece of paper, shall we? Yeah, that's fine. That'll work. I don't see my scrap paper. Oh, there it is. All right. So let me draw a line and see how, oh, good. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So that is a nice, kind of like a fine point. And I don't want to leave my X-Acto knife sitting out. I'm going to very carefully wipe that off so that there isn't any more of that on there. That's kind of a fluorescent, you know, pink fluorescent highlighter. Where is the cork? Here it is. I think that's dry. So I'm going to just go ahead and put that back in there, trying to dry that off a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to put that away carefully. Okay. I can be, you know, let's say somewhat of a klutz sometimes. I don't deny it. Well, actually, I probably would deny it, but I'll just admit it to you. So, okay, yeah. So how I like that. That's working well. So how I'm doing that is I'm really not pushing so hard so much as I'm just almost, for lack of a better word, I'm almost tickling the paper. I'm going to try to get a little bit closer just so you can see how much pressure. Sorry if I'm kind of a noob at the whole camera thing, so bear with me. Is that pretty good? I think we're in pretty close there. And that's almost, yeah, that's pretty good. Let's get you more in the center. And just lightly, I'm gonna get right over it. Nice. Nice. So I also have colored pencils, a great set of Prismacolor colored pencils, but I just wanted to try this because I have this handy, but I never really grabbed this. I never really tried this, you know, using it with anything. It kind of, it reminds me, the feel of this reminds me of like the chalk, you know, the pastels. It reminds me of the pastels. So that's kind of how that is. And you could find one of these, if you don't find it in a craft store, you could find one of these if you wanted to try it in just about any bookstore would have it. I'm really focused, so that's why I'm not saying a whole lot. So I'm going to do a little bit more, and then I'm going to pause it and finish, and we'll see how it comes out. And if it comes out bad, you'll never see this. That's kind of how that works. Okay, so there I went a little bit off. Oh, there we go. Very nice. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna pause this and come back, and we'll see if I notice, or if you notice a big difference or not. All right, now what I chose to do was, I did start with the highlighter, like you saw me do, by sharpening the tip with an X-Acto knife. And that went okay, but it still, I didn't have the control that I wanted to have in order to, you know, do a nice job on this. So I grabbed my Prismacolor pencils, which I adore, and this is the neon pink one, which is number PC1038. PC, of course, stands for Prismacolor. And the other, I swatched all of these out, but the color on my swatch that I thought about trying was the hot pink. So this is the hot pink that I was going to use, but this one here, but I chose to go with the neon pink because the hot pink to me just looked a little bit too, almost like a mauve. That's just how I felt about it. So I'm sticking with this one. So this is what I've done so far. So the only word I haven't finished is blessed. And then I'll do the, you know, the reference down here at the bottom. So I went ahead and went with my Prismacolor pencils, and I just added this little bee sticker on here. But so this is my Prismacolor sharpener. Oh, let me get that in frame. And yeah, that is pretty great. And it actually has two different areas where you can't see it really in the video, I don't think. Oh, maybe you can. Here and here, it shows you, you know, that you'll have a more pointy tip with this one and less with that one. So I went ahead and used this one carefully because those, you know, the color in there can break off on you. So I am holding the pencil right over it, and that's actually still not sharp enough. I need that a little sharper. There we go. And wipe it off a little bit, or, you know, scrape it off, rub it off on a piece of paper. And then just lightly going over that. Well, this is different doing it upside down. So I've done all the rest down to here. Now we're just down to that word. And then I'm happy with that. Now obviously it's not the exact same color. That's okay. It's you know, it's pink, and they all work well together. So there we go. I think I'll start at the number and work backwards. There we are. We're getting a big storm here, so I hope we don't lose power. It's April right now, but wow, the weather sounds like it's June or July. I guess you can get thunderstorms in April, right? But it surprises us. Okay, so we got 2 more letters to go. And it's good to take your time on this kind of thing. Sometimes when I'm doing a card, you know, I want to go quicker because I just want to get it done or whatever. But you know what? It takes what it takes. You're making something for someone. It's personal. It's not some machine or an assembly line. you're doing it yourself. A handmade card is something to be cherished. But don't feel that you have to save a card, you know, just because it's handmade. I don't want anybody to feel that way. It's just a thing, right? People are more important than stuff. But so that is the end of that. So I'm glad I came back on and did that. I'm gonna go ahead and back out a little bit and hopefully not be too fast at that. There we go. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. I may do something on the inside, but you know, for now it's just blank. I'm happy with that, and I know my mom will be overjoyed with it because she loves everything I make and she's so supportive, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, I think that's it, and I'm gonna really be done this time. So I will catch you later, and I hope you all have a great day.